I've been very honest about this from jump that Tulsi was my number one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight choice when it came to the nomination for president, the Democratic nomination for president. And I already knew that it was damn near impossible. It was an uphill climb. She had to go up against the establishment as well as the fervent support that Sanders got. A lot of that, potentially would be in her ballpark. So I just knew that it wasn't gonna happen this go around. But she still continues to press and still continues to impress. So we got this coming to us from Forbes. Tulsi Gabbard endorses legalizing drugs, basically ending the drug war. Something that, if you have followed my channels with an S for the last few years, that's my goal in life, is to end that war, is to really put a spotlight on how nonsensical it is and how it's only been, well, not only, but mainly been used as a means in which to fill up prison systems and destroy the urban community. Because back in the day, the black family used to be the strongest thing in the world. And now, due to, policies such as the drug war and the welfare state, it's been completely dismantled, and a lot of it came by our own hands. But once again, there's these policies and legislation in place that didn't help facilitate a better outcome or a better result. So let's get into this from Tom Angel. Is that Angel? It's Angel. Contributor. Rep. Tulsi Gabbard is calling for the U.S. to legalize currently illicit drugs. If we take that step to legalize and regulate, then we're no longer treating people who are struggling with substance addiction and abuse as criminals, and instead getting them the help they need, the 2020 presidential candidate said at a campaign stop in Merrimack, New Hampshire on Friday. God, I love you. I love you, Tulsi. She was responding to a voter who asked whether her plan to end the war on drugs centered on more harm reduction and treatment or if it involved moving to legalize and regulate narcotics so that you're no longer seeing tainting drugs on the street and involvement in the black market. The Congresswoman replied that her answer was all of the above. The cost and the consequence to this failed war on drugs is so vast and far-reaching, socially and fiscally, that if we take these necessary steps, we'll be able to solve a lot of other problems that we're dealing with in this country, she said. Oh my God. Look, right out the park. Knocked it right on out the park, because this has been it's hard to call it a waste, because those who implemented the drug war knew what they were doing. Okay, this is a very well thought out, meticulous plan that has been going on for the past 4 decades. And when they implemented it, they knew exactly where to target, who to target, and really to remove the racial angle from it and really just throw everybody away. It wasn't about the color of your skin. It was more along, it's always been more, well, not always, I'm saying, probably since the 70s or 80s, it's been far more aligned with socioeconomic status as opposed to whatever color skin tone you have, because the only color that really matters in the grand scheme of things is that green. Make no mistake. Gabbard, who has sponsored several marijuana legalization bills during her time in Congress, had previously said in an interview last year that she supported decriminalizing an individual's choice to use whatever substances that are there while still criminalizing those who are traffickers and dealers of these drugs. Once again, I believe just the entire criminal element has to go. That's what spurs along the black market as well as the violence. Because the violence really, pardon me guys, drinking coffee. The violence really does come from the illicit part of it, from the fact that, hey, if I get caught with this, I'm doing jail time. I don't want to do jail time. I'm going to hold court in the streets, right? So the violence really, you stole my drugs, I'm going to go kicking in your door, as opposed to, the illegality has been the biggest facilitator of the violence that we've seen. Gabbard's latest comments, which were first noted and reported by journalist Michael Tracy, go beyond that by indicating she backs a legally regulated method of producing and distributing drugs. Yeah, it's already here. It's called the Pharmaceutical Companies. Like, it's already here. We already have that. We already have the regulating method and for producing and distributing. It's called Big Pharma. It's called Merck. It's called Pfizer. It's called all of these pharmaceutical companies who, like, if you're caught with their drugs, you go to prison. The doctors can prescribe you prescription after prescription after prescription, and like, I think they've been hit on the opioid thing a little bit since Trump's been in office, but it's nowhere near the extent as, the Avon and Stringer Bell from The Wire. It's nowhere near that type of gusto when it comes to making sure that the doctors are prescribing these drugs with the same with some type of care and a modicum of moderation in there, because that's one of the reasons my mom ended up dying, because she would just say, "Oh, I'm hurt, I need to go see the doctor to get more pills." And that's what it was. Just more pills, more pills, more pills, more pills. I'm looking at the doctor like, "Hey, doc, can you stop this?" "Well, I mean, she just wants the pills." "Well, you're the one that's writing the prescription, dude." But I was overruled in that, and my mother ended up dying. Big part of the reason why my sister's lucky she still gets to draw breath on this earth. But either ways, that's it's to an extent. Is that a driving force of mine? Of course, because the doctor just sat there like, "Oh yeah," like, she's not getting any better. She's not moving any better. She's not doing for herself at all by any stretch of the imagination. But you're gonna keep plying her with pills. Miss me, for real. Just sitting there taking the doctor's word for it. People are stupid. The stance also puts her a step further than former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, a rival Democratic presidential candidate who has endorsed simply decriminalizing possession of all drugs. Entrepreneur Andrew Yang, another contender, you're using that word a little loosely there, champ, supports decriminalizing opioids and funding safe consumption sites for illegal drugs. He also wants to make psychedelic mushrooms more freely available. Very, very interested to see what that world would look like. Those candidates and most other Democrats running for president in 2020 also support legalizing marijuana, with the exceptions of former Vice President Joe Biden and former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who back more modest steps such as removing criminal penalties for possession and expunging past records. That's right, baby steps, guys. During the New Hampshire campaign stop, Gabbard also spoke about her support for ending cannabis prohibition, calling it the easiest and most critical first steps towards ending the drug war. And that is where we 150% agree. Tulsi, that's why I wanted you. That's why to this moment I want you. The likelihood of it being you, oh, it's dead in the water. Let's be real. Like 2024, I think you'll have a lot more of that, a lot more of the support that Sanders is getting right now. Just make sure that it's not the crazy people who want to burn Milwaukee to the ground, but a lot of that support that Sanders is getting right now, that's gonna shift to her. I can see that happening because she'll have probably the most established name that takes that shot again back in 2024. So it'll be very interesting to see what takes place 4 years down the road. But as far as right now goes, yeah, she is she really is my candidate of choice. I know that there's a ton of people who do not like her, who do not want to get down with her, but unfortunately, when it comes to everybody available at a policy level, and I've made this promise to myself, and I'm going to keep that promise to myself, is that I will always focus on people with the policies that I really want to see implemented. It has to come from, I'm all about policy. Like, just at this point, you can sit here, give me all the rhetoric you want. I want to know your policies. I want to know how that's going to help to ultimately get what I would like accomplished, which is, a redirection of urban America. And there's no bigger, brighter place to start than with the drug war. And I just want to take a moment and commend Tulsi for recognizing that. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss it a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Share because sharing is caring. And YouTube and BitChute and like aren't the biggest fans of you. Boy over here, bang the bell, ding, for notifications. And speak. Let me know. What do you think in the comments? I mean, like, would you consider voting for Tulsi? Is there, like, come on, guys. I knew from the beginning she wasn't gonna get the type of traction necessary to make a big impact in this race. But hey, this is what having a bit of integrity looks like. This is what having a spine looks like, and this is what having principles and standing on those principles looks like. Because even though she doesn't stand a chance in hell of winning, that doesn't mean that I can't sit here and try to boost her. As well as I have another video that's going to be coming up in a couple of hours or so about that really does focus in on the tragedy of this war on drugs featuring Delonte West. So with that being said, guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and until the next one.